I love Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and when I heard a remake was coming out, I was insanely hyped for it. We know that it is probably coming out, but it'll take some time, and it has been in development hell. I just want to talk about what I would like to see in the Knights of the Old Republic remake, if it were to come out, which I think it will. We do know that graphically the game is going to look good. I mean, that's like the standard of all remakes, and it's going to be better than the original. Obviously, the original came out in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. But I hope that when they do the graphics, it's not the classic Unreal Engine style, which all the games nowadays adopt, where every single game looks the same and super hyper realistic. I hope they have some more filters or a more unique art style to distinguish itself from the Unreal Engine graphics system. I will make a video on that as well at some point about my problems with the modern graphics in video games. So I do hope that when they do add new graphics and stuff, they gotta spice it up, give it a unique art style and stuff like that, so it does not look like every single Unreal Engine game. And one thing I do need to preface is I hope that they leave the main story as it is. I think the main story is genuinely perfect. I don't think there are any flaws with it. I don't think the pacing has any issues. I think it's a perfect package. But I think they can expand on some stuff with some side quests and stuff. I think in general, just adding more side quests into the world and stuff like that would be really cool. I mean, the game itself already has a lot of good side quests, and I hope all of them come over. But I think adding a few new stuff would, and to deepen the world building, would definitely not harm anything. And I think it would make a lot of stuff even cooler. I think obviously they're going to be doing some lore corrections. For example, they're going to be changing Korriban to Morroban, since that's the now canonical name of the planet, even though I do prefer Korriban. I think in general the voice acting was perfect, so you can reuse the voice acting from the original and maybe add in some new lines and stuff like that, or bring back the originals. And I think maybe more interactions with the members and stuff like that, with the squad. I think that would definitely be a really cool thing to see. Otherwise, keep the story intact, make the plot twist dramatic as ever. Just leave all that stuff. In general, I would like to also see maybe a bit more for Bastilla, maybe a bit more. I mean, I think what we did have in the original game was genuinely amazing and almost perfect. Maybe you can add a bit more to it. I don't know what they could add. Maybe a few more dialogues, a few more snarky comments. Like just to flesh it out a bit, I guess. And of course, fix bugs and stuff, and that's I think that's a given. But I think the remake will have its own the remake will have their own bugs, which hopefully will get patched out. And we know how the state of modern gaming is in general. And one companion that really needs a complete rework is T3M4. And now T3M4 does become a more of a major character in the second game, and I'll get to some points in that. But in the first game, he literally does nothing. You need him for one section and that's it. Maybe add more importance to him and maybe flesh him out a bit more. I know he's just a droid or something. Maybe do something with him, make him cooler or something. And in KOTOR 2, there were segments where you just played as one particular character, especially with the, for example, with the restored content mod. There's the whole section where you just play as HQ47 or you play as T3M4. Maybe something like that in this game with the other characters to, like I said, to fleshen them out a bit more, to give them more character, to expand upon those ideas that have already been set in. Stuff like that would be really cool, as long as it doesn't take away from the core experience. I think it'll be hard to do, of course, but I think it should be done. The mini games and stuff like that, the swoop racing, Pazak, keep all that stuff just as it is. I fucking love Pazak. It's my favorite card game in an RPG. I like it more than Witcher's Gwent. All the other stuff, Pazak is amazing. Sometimes I just go back to my old save and just play Pazak. It's elite. And I hope they keep the protagonist silent. I think a silent protagonist is perfect. I don't think we need voice acting or anything, because I think voice acting would take away from the experience. Now I think the main thing that's going to be changed is the gameplay. And even though I do enjoy the gameplay now, like when I first played it, I didn't, because I didn't technically understand it. I know that this gameplay is not for everyone, but I think that they're going to modernize the gameplay a lot. Now how they're going to do it, I don't know. My idea was probably something more in the direction of the Final Fantasy VII remake than something like Baldur's Gate 3. I wouldn't mind either. Baldur's Gate 3 is a classic turn-based game, while this game was more of an action turn-based. I don't think they're going to do the Baldur's Gate 3 direction, because that's a bit too much. That's a lot more harder on the turn-based than the action. But I think they're going to adopt the Final Fantasy VII Remake gameplay. I have not played that game yet. I have it on my list. But from what I have seen, it looks like a lot more action-oriented, turn-based, I guess, because you can swap between 3 party members and stuff like that, which is perfect for this game since you always have 3 party members with you. I think that would be a great addition, and I think that's how they should move forward when they modernize the gameplay so that everyone can play them, new fans, old fans, whatever. As long as they don't remove the stuff from the store, we're all cool. Looking at you, Rockstar.
Okay, homie, let's load this shit up.
Keep the planets the same. I think maybe adding a few small things like side quests and stuff like I mentioned before would be cool. Maybe make them a bit bigger. Like Tatooine's desert feels a lot less shorter, a lot less smaller than it's supposed to feel. But that might be a good thing, because then the pacing is not, like super padded out. But I think maybe expanding upon that, making a few more secrets there, making it a bit bigger would be interesting and would be cool to see. And I don't think that would really take away much from the experience. It would just make it a bit more realistic, I guess. Of course, adding animations and stuff would be nice. Like, for example, when petting the Giska, it just turns into a black screen. But if they were to add some animations of your player character petting the Giska, would be really cool. And something like more quests between planets. I mean, there was that one quest with Mission's brother where you have to go to Kashyyyk and then come back to Tatooine to give him the particular item he wants. Maybe a few more quests where you have to go between the planets, so you feel like you're like traveling between the worlds and stuff like that. Not like a lot of them, but a few of them would be kind of cool. Maybe with some new story added into it and stuff like that would generally be interesting. Of course, another classic is cut content. The KOTOR 1 didn't have much content that was really cut. Most of the content that was cut was because they want to make the pacing more consistent and stuff like that. But I think a few additions would not be that bad or anything, because I think it could be really interesting and cool to see. And they maybe make it flow better into the story. Like, for example, in the Black Vulture base, if I'm not mistaken, one complete level was scrapped out because of the pacing, because it wouldn't fit with the pacing. Maybe add that in and somehow make it work with the pacing. I don't really know how they would do it. If not, just scrap it in general. That doesn't really matter that much. But in general, like adding in some old concepts and old scrapped ideas would give a nice fresh take for returning players, like small details and stuff. Of course, by not changing much from the original, because the original is perfect and I think it should be kept and preserved the way it is, just modern. I guess music as well, gotta keep the same track from Jeremy Soule. It's one of the best original soundtracks I've ever heard. Maybe add a few more songs would be cool, because a lot of the songs are repeated or used a lot of the times. Maybe adding some more. And now we're going to get into a bit more of the spoiler territory. If you have not yet played Knights of the Old Republic, play it. It's one of the greatest games ever. If you have, then sit through and watch to the rest, because there will be spoilers. I think they like after that whole plot twist with Revan and stuff like that, and all that, and the end of the game when you beat Malik or whatever, and you get the dark side or light side ending. I think they got to give you like maybe a small post game, which would be really a small post game would be really good to see, where you can go to the planets and see how they react to you being Revan and stuff like that. Like small details. I think that would be really cool. And of course, maybe like a reputation system, something like the influence system in Knights of the Old Republic 2, maybe something like that, which would also deepen the characters in general. Small stuff like that, a small post game to see what Revan was doing before he went to the unknown regions and stuff like that would be really cool to see. It's not really a must, but I do think that would be pretty enjoyable. Or maybe add that in the Knights of the Old Republic 2 remake that may come out. I don't know. I'm hoping it does. And maybe in the end make a post-credit sequence, something of Knights of the Old Republic 2, showing something like Nihilus or something like that. I don't know. But in general, I think that's basically it for the spoiler category. I didn't really have much to say. I just thought it would be nice to see a small post game of what Revan was doing between that time. would be in general cool to see. And I think that they should try some stuff like that out. I mean, in general, I hope the game comes out in the next few years. May take 5 years or something at this point. I don't even know. May not ever come out. Just a few things that I think would be cool to see if they were to remake, or when they do remake this game. I hope you guys enjoyed this rambling and me talking about the stuff I like, stuff I want. What would you like to see in the remake? Put that down in the comments below. Start a discussion, and I'll see you guys the next video. And hopefully it won't take that long to come out.